Good morning. Good morning, all. It's a big room. I'm delighted to be here with you today for this great event and summit for AI for Good. I'm delighted to talk about AI, not just as fantasy and theory, but hopefully as an opportunity to empower everyone. And, to start, I want us to be grounded in the context. The world now runs on software. It is truly embedded into your homes, into your offices, into your hospitals, into the stadiums. It is embedded into every single industry, from oil and gas to banks right here in Switzerland to retail, manufacturing, and more. And it's really part of a lot of connected devices. Connected cars, I could actually take a picture of this amazing autonomous Formula One racing cars I saw in the booth, all the way as well to different types of autonomous scenarios on smart coffee machines, etc. When you think about the sheer computing power you have available now, and the way you can apply that computing power to store, to access, to reason the data in a massive way, and you think about the number of connected devices growing exponentially, from 28 billion devices today up to 50 billion devices by 2023, you could really say that the opportunity we have is somehow endless. And in that context, it's really an amazing time to think about the way the economy is getting digital. We see a number of new multi-sense, multi-devices, application services being developed, putting the user, the citizen, the patient at the center of the experiences. And we see that as I travel the world, there's not a single country that is not going through a massive digital transformation. There's not a single industry that is not going through a massive digital transformation either. And as we reflect as a company and as an industry on the way we embrace and think about that AI-led innovation, we think about a four-pronged approach that I'd like to walk you through during this presentation. It's about driving, first of all, core innovation in the fabrics of your industry. Then it's about shaping that innovation in a responsible way. It's about taking a holistic approach and the skills you're going to need as a business, as an NGO, as a country, to actually address that innovation opportunity. And last but not least, it's only about the ethical way you're going to address that and the way you can apply the power of innovation to do great things, good things, contributing to the UN agenda. And so what I'd like to do is start with one short example of one industry, agricultural business, right here in Nairobi in Kenya with a company called FarmBits. Let's roll out the video, please.
My name is Sean Stratman, and I'm a farmer. I've been doing this a long time, and it's clear, now more than ever, that we need to find better ways of growing to ensure a sustainable future for farming. Water scarcity and agricultural pollution are all creating pressures that farmers around the world are feeling. We are looking to human ingenuity and technology to feed our growing population.
My background is in connectivity and battery technologies, but I grew up spending summers on our family farm in India. That foundation gives me a unique perspective in my work as a principal researcher at Microsoft. New sensor technology is a great tool in providing data on soil moisture and soil nutrients to help farmers make best use of their resources. Unfortunately, these sensor solutions can cost thousands of dollars per sensor and require many sensors to monitor a field properly. Drones and other imaging technologies can provide very useful data and allow for precise monitoring of land over time. But these devices require a high bandwidth wireless connection from the middle of the farm. To solve our connectivity problem, we utilize the unused channels for TV broadcasts, which are abundant in rural areas. This allows us to transfer large amounts of data from cameras and sensors in these remote areas to a local processor at the farm and out to the Microsoft cloud.
So I send this up, and it's taking pictures all the time.
Our big breakthrough was the integration of machine learning into the processing of imaging and ground sensor data. Through this process, the data
Well, through this process, you get and you build some very intelligent services. I'm afraid the video got stalled, so I need to do the speaking on top of the video. But you get a pretty good sense of what it takes, actually, to drive core innovation. This is really the concept of every company, every business becoming a software company. And in many ways, that farming business is becoming a software farming business. And it applies to every kind of organization. You know, as a company, as we engage with many different types of organizations across the world, we've seen that tech intensity brought to life. And tech intensity is about two factors. The first one is about adoption of the most advanced cloud AI technology available in the marketplace. But this is not enough. What you got to do as an organization that becomes digital is to bring and co-build your own innovation, your own IP and services on top. And this is exactly what FarmBeats has achieved. They've been using our computing power analytics at scale on our back-end cloud and our AI stack to build all those predictive scenarios to raise productivity and reduce cost. And this is really fueling a lot of growth across the economy. Actually, there were some very interesting numbers by PwC showing that AI is the biggest commercial tech innovation, contributing to a growth of GDP by $16 trillion, which is a lot, by 2030. It is like adding the GDP of China and India to the planet. So pretty big deal in terms of the impact and the way it's going to scale across the world. There's many scenarios happening in the world. It goes from all the way from simple scenarios on basically the usual business agents providing you with some common HR services, as an example, to respond to all the key questions you have as an employee. It goes all the way to detection and structured data, connected factory as an example, to enable more safety in a oil reserve or in a plant. It continues to expand people, professional capabilities at work, augmenting those capabilities. It's about mining incredible data, images, pictures, videos, and more to really reveal the insights. And it's about driving autonomous scenarios. So all of that is really driving a lot of innovation. But the key question is, how do we drive the innovation in a responsible way? And as a company, for a number of years, we've clearly put at the core foundation of the way we design software and today cloud services, three core foundational, I would say, principles. The first one is all about privacy. The second one is cybersecurity. And the third one, really, ethical AIs. You know, privacy for us, and I think for all of you, is a human right. It is a human right. It's about putting the user or the citizen at the center, owning the data and deciding what they want to do with it, and using the data only to improve the experiences if they want to achieve that outcomes. Cybersecurity, there's a lot going on in the world, and it's taken a lot of partnerships. We have decided to step up. We have been associated to a program called the Defend Democracy Program, as an example, where with many other companies, not just tech, but also governments, we are really making sure technology is used in a way that makes sense, that is respectful of democracies. The last example on cybersecurity is a consortium we led, which is called Tech Accord, with 34 tech companies in the world, where we're basically putting in common all the cybersecurity intelligence we have to protect citizens from cyber attacks. In a way, it is the new digital Geneva Convention for cybercrime and cybersecurity. And last but not least is about ethical AIs. And I think there were already a few mentions about the way you need, as an organization, whatever is the purpose, the mission of what you do, NGO, business, government, it is something you got to do. And we've been reflecting on that, defining 6 fundamental principles. We actually documented that in a book, which is a digital book called Future Computed, so you can have access to that on our website. And it starts with 4 core principles. Fairness, which is all about making sure that we are not introducing bias, discrimination with AI algorithms that are actually doing something we not allow people, real citizens, to do in real life. The second one, for sure, is providing reliable and safe services and experiences for people as they experience very different scenarios with AI. The third one is really applying everything I talked about on security and privacy when we design such algorithms again. And the last one, inclusiveness. Very important one as companies really think about the user scenarios. They need to make sure they are respectful of including all the people to participate in experiences and not create, again, another set of biases where they exclude because the way the people coding and the way they design were not inclusive in the first place. And then we've got two core principles underpinning all of those principles, which are critical. Transparency is about the way we really want to make available the design, the way the software, the algorithm is being done to understand the way and the why and the outcomes that you could get through those algorithms. And last but not least, it's all about accountability. We need to hold the computers accountable to people, but we also need to hold the people who develop those algorithms accountable to all the people, all the users of those application services. So this is a very important framework, and we've decided to actually leave it in our own business as a company. Microsoft, as you know, is a pretty heavy center on R&D innovation for users to empower them. And we've created a council over the past 2-3 years now, an internal council with some key people across product, R&D, sales, services, legal, all the functions together. And we create a framework to decide, are we going to build those products? Are we going to engage on such initiative with such customers? Is it actually in line with our core principles? And here at the very high level, because of course there are many more questions, we ask ourselves as we sit down and discuss those projects and initiatives globally. You see the purpose of the system, you see the capability, the quality, and of course the sensitive use case scenarios. And I can tell you, having applied the last couple of years, we've declined a number of very large business opportunities as a company we just decide to not get involved into because they were not in line with those principles. So again, I think it's an important framework for all of us to try to embrace. Clearly, with digital transformation comes a digital cultural transformation as well. A digital transformation of the culture is all about the people. It's all about the skills. It's really all about the way we think about the skills education moving forward, which are profoundly transformed. It's the way you need to think about the new talents you need to go after, to go and develop. It's also about the way you want to protect people in some existing jobs, about the way AI is going to be infused in their tasks and activities and prepare them to tackle that new world and environment. And so a lot of jobs are going to be touched, impacted in a way than others, and different types of impact, again, depending on automation, more or less, again, at the core of those jobs. There are some jobs, again, more human-centered, with a lot more expertise brought on top of AI. But at the end of the day, it's about being very diligent on the skills, reskilling, upskilling needed for each one of those jobs and the new job that will be created. So I'd like us to take a look at a very short video. I hope this one is going to work until the end, to show you a scenario of AI extending, augmenting people capabilities in actually an operations board. Let's roll the video, please. what you saw here is a combination of mixed reality, rendering of 3D with analog experiences all together, augmenting a lot of different scenarios. It's happening in real life, and it is a great power, again, to enable people to do and achieve more. So as you think about all those scenarios, all those new capabilities we can bring to life, you need, and we need as a company, we decided to participate and deeply invest and committed to really closing or narrowing the gaps on digital and AI gaps, AI skills. And so we are taking a very broad set of initiatives as a company, all the way from actually early age coding. So as an example, last year, we've been actually reaching out to 12.5 million youths across the world. We ran more than 125 sessions with the DigiGirls education to really encourage girls to actually code because they are very gifted, more than boys, if you believe me, that's a reality actually. And they should contribute more to that sector as well in the economy. We've been also taking on educators training more than 200,000 educators. But all of that is being done with deep partnership. Deep partnership with governments, with NGOs, you see the names, but also with business organizations. 10 days ago, we are announcing a new partnership with General Assembly. General Assembly is actually online learning education platform providing not just MOOCs, coaching, combining physical online experiences. And with General Assembly and Microsoft, we're committed to actually go and try and reskill 15,000 people in AI over the next few years. And we're announcing and working on many of such partnerships to engage with all of our customers' constituencies on a very broad set of skills initiatives. One country at a time, one industry at a time, one partner at a time. So we also have to do that across the business community because at the end of the day, the executive committees, the business leaders, the government leaders as well have to understand what is at stake. What are the challenges? What are the opportunities? And how to reason, how to conceptualize a data strategy, a data platform. And this is the reason why a few weeks back we announced a partnership with INSEAD, well known in Europe, of course, and globally. And we released a series of content of a curriculum for business people, which is called AI Business School, which have been accessed by 140,000 people right the last few weeks. So please connect to the website if you want to know more by industry. And today we're announcing a new module which is about government leaders. So we've been releasing the same to enable education as well of government leaders across the world. So all of that is really about empowering more people and enabling more scenarios, again, to bring to life. I mean, there's a lot more we can do when you think about the core capabilities of AI. Think, and you heard, and you see actually a lot of those cognitive services, we call them, with the script, the speech. But think about the computer vision, the quality, and what it can do to actually people who cannot see. Think about the hearing technology, which are pretty amazing, and what it can do for people who are deaf. So think about the incredible power to make technology accessible to 1 billion people on the planet who have some form of disabilities. It's in our hands. And so with that passion in mind, we have decided as well to really go and invest alongside of social entrepreneurs. We do believe social entrepreneurs are really transforming the world for good, for best. We just announced a partnership with Ashoka, which as you may know is the leading social enterprise NGO in the world, where we are co-incubating a cohort of social entrepreneurs in India and France to go after many of the UN Sustainable Development Goals, by the way, and apply a lot of AI innovation to scale at a much higher level. We do the same in the UK. We partner with a trust for Tech for Good in the UK. We've got a cohort of 50 social entrepreneurs that I met with actually a few weeks back who are doing some amazing work. And beyond that, we have decided to embark on an even more structured initiative as a company called AI for Good. We announced that 18 months ago, and we have decided to invest, and it's not just honestly about investing money, it's $150 million investment across 3 key impacts. The first one is all about AI on Earth. It's about sustainability, it's about CO2 footprint, it's about water scarcity, it's about biodiversity and more, and we have a lot of innovation with NGOs, governments, out innovating in AI. The second one, we just announced recently, is AI for humanitarian efforts. which deals with refugees crisis, deals with natural disasters, and again, automate processes, services, and platforms to do a lot more for people who need that at time of crisis. And the last one is AI for accessibility. I touched on it a little bit before, on the way we can enable a lot of incredible innovative scenarios like this app that you may have seen or used for some of you called Seeing AI. Basically enable people who cannot see to have a rendering experience of what's happening around themselves to better enjoy their life. And I'd like actually to run a short video on one of such examples with a company called Zarobotics. So let's roll the video, please.
When I was a kid, I was amazed by the bionic woman. I didn't want to be her. I wanted to build her. Reading science, technology, engineering, math can open up a whole new world for kids.
At Zarobotics, we are using Microsoft AI to develop a STEM-based reading fluency program for students with diverse learning needs.
What's unique about Readable Stories is that it uses custom speech models to understand children's voices, all of the nuances of their speech patterns.
1 more makes 5.
4 plus 1 more makes 5.
The AI agent adapts based on the interaction with the child. It understands what they get right and where they need to improve.
Now how many do you see?
For kids without access to speech therapists or the funds to pay for them, this is life-changing. The partnership with Microsoft AI for Good allows us to quickly iterate and be able to deploy these AI methodologies into Readable Stories.
I'm going to press the arrow.
Learning is not a one-size-fits-all process. When you make it accessible and inclusive to kids with diverse learning needs, you make it accessible and inclusive for every child. If we make sure that every child has access, it would change the world.
Always exciting to almost end with kids realizing their potential. So to conclude, wrap it up, really the opportunity we have with AI are almost endless. They are only limited by our imaginations. Today, we believe, I think all of us, that it's going to take a lot of partnerships, but we can really go and help solving some of the biggest societal challenges. AI gives us opportunity to do good. But I'm more even convinced that if we really form meaningful, incredibly aligned partnership between NGOs, between businesses, between governments, between civil society and citizens, I think we can accomplish great things together. So at Microsoft, we are deeply committed to partnering with all of you to really empower AI for everyone. Thank you so much.